Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you happen to be in this wonderful world. Today is the 13th of October, and it is 8 p.m. here in Northern Ireland. The full moon is rising as I look out through the window here. Incredible white stroke silver ball. Yeah, anybody feeling the full moon, huh? Over the last day or two, I certainly have. Number of other people I've been speaking to have been feeling it as well. Yeah. And what's the full moon bringing? Well, Alex Miles actually posted something which I shared about an hour ago on the full moon. We're going to go through that list in a few minutes. But in essence, what it actually is acceleration and burning away of anything and everything that's toxic. In other words, fearful, which we're going to get into this evening. How to and what to do to transcend the arch enemy of the well-being, which is fear. Separation from the old, making way for the new, acceleration of the separation of the old, and acceleration of that which is making way for the new. Two sides of the one coin. It's called the ascension process. Yeah, things rapidly speeding up. Happy days, happy days. Some announcements before we get stuck in this evening. First and foremost, wonderful to have your company, Caroline. Alice, how are you, my dears? Alice, great to have you as well, Caroline. And we'll crack on in a few minutes whenever other. Francis Murray, my dear soul brother friend. Yeah. Speaking of Francie earlier on, so much is happening, so many exciting things, dramatic things, significantly incredible, important things. Suzanne Heath, Pauline, hello. Hey, great to have you. I really appreciate your company here because, you know, not that I get lonely, and I never get lonely. But it's wonderful to be able to share with kindred spirits and like minds. And so much I've been sharing of late is along those lines, you know. And many times I actually feel it'd be great to actually meet you in person. Imelda McBurdy, how are you up there in the northwest Donegal? Happy days. Full moon rising here. I'm sure it's beautiful up there too, Imelda. You know, to have get-togethers in the flesh, as you know, we Francie Murray and I have been doing those about once a month or so for many years. Talking to Patty O'Reilly today in Cavan, and 21 years we've been meeting. Kindred spirits, like minds, fellow light warriors and workers and goddesses, and amazing. So we're going to have a get together, like an inner circle get together next Sunday, alive and well, here in Northern Ireland. Yeah, happy days, happy days. All right, let's do a couple of announcements. Those of you who are interested, obviously, in having one-to-one appointments, it's an honor and a privilege to help those who are ready to help themselves. Please send me an email at info@samueljennings.life. and the website, which is samueljennings.life, if you want to send me an inquiry on there. Courtesy of our friends, Facebook here, I'm not allowed, for whatever reason, I'm not getting into that, to text or put in text my email address and my website actually on these live recordings. So that's why today I encouraged anyone and everyone who appreciates these videos to go to my YouTube page. And please subscribe there so that, and I will be uploading these to the YouTube page. Okay, so let's do the relax I am within so that we can crack on with the information to be shared this evening. In through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose. Relax, relax, relax. Relax. In through the nose. I am I am. I am. Within, 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 within. Thank you. And you know, when we do that together, actually, what it actually does is it joins our hearts and souls and our I amness, hearts, minds, souls, and body, and well, not the bodies, but the hearts and minds and the souls and the I am presence with us all. So we're all actually connected, one with each other. Francie Murray, give us the full bucket. Okay, buddy, I'm going to give the full bucket. Francie and I were talking about this earlier on, and we were just chatting about, you know, have you ever driven a car with your foot over the brake in third gear when you have 6 forwards and you want to go flat? Yeah, all right. Maybe I'm going to do that tonight then. So fasten your seatbelts, folks. We're going to take off. All right. Hiya, Donna. Great chat with you again today as well. Looking forward to meeting you, Donna and Francie and Patty and others next Sunday. All right. Okay, let's go. The full moon. All right, very quickly, courtesy of Alex Miles, I'm going to read something about October 13, i.e. today. Intense and fiery Aries, full moon, burning through everything toxic. I posted it earlier. If you want to go to my timeline on my Facebook page, you can read and print this off for yourself. Okay, bringing in clarity to see true intentions, confidence to move forward, courage to release the past, intuition to recognize illusions. Discernment between that which is false, fake, and figment, fearful, as I've touched on in the last few videos, and to be able to discern that which is false and that which is of real authenticity. Passion to rekindle relationships. That sounds like an interesting one. Strength to close harmful chapters. Absolutely. Bring it on. Discipline to breathe when triggered. What about all the time? Relax, I am within, until you no longer need to repeat the mantra, because it's already, you know, all we're doing here with the relax I am within is reminding ourselves how to breathe, as we did as kids, or how the dogs and cats do, or everything else in creation does. You see, the only part of creation that has forgotten how to breathe properly are fearful adult humans. So when we remove the fear, we breathe properly again. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Why do we do that, by the way? 2 sides to the brain, left brain, right brain, male, female, balance and harmony, so that we're in the child state of consciousness, the alpha frequency. Safety to surrender, heal and transform. Well, what do you know? I'm going to get into that one this evening. Self-worth to walk away when feeling devaluated. You better believe it. Tough love is self-love. I mean the love of the inner self. Another word for it, another phrase for it, is take no crap. Ability to manifest what once seemed impossible. And Don and I were talking about it today very quickly. When we talked about this actually recently, about setting our intention. What is intention? Intention is the heart and the gut feeling operating in harmony, the seat of desire and the seat of the will operating in harmony. That's intention. When we set our intention on something and we give our action, which is the third eye, and we visualize, outpicture the intention. It's the attention given to the intention, but it's the intention directing the attention with gratitude. We talked a lot about that of late. Expressing the gratitude for that which we are about to receive. And believe me, it is happening now so quickly. So be very careful what we set our intention on. And by the way, if we're setting our attention on something, that which we actually think about, we bring about. And Francie and I were talking about this earlier on today, and quite a lot in the recent days about, in fact, we're going to speak about that tonight, that which we think about and especially speak about, we bring about. So what are we thinking about? What are we speaking about? So be very careful. You know what this, we've often heard it, be careful what you wish for, because it just might happen. That's it, folks. So it's either the downward spiral, either fear-based, or the upward ascension. The only way is up, baby. Yeah. Ability to manifest what once seemed impossible. Knowledge to prevent old lessons from repeating. What kind of knowledge? Inner, conscious awareness, true knowledge. The innate wisdom that we're actually is bubbling up from within us. That's exactly what's happening. Trust in the universe's miracles. Universe, we talked about it last night. Universe. One song. What does that mean? When the conscious side of our lives, the human being aspect of our lives, the human experience aspect of our lives, what I posted this morning was when the human experience is manifesting the spirit you all, playing on the words, spirit you all, the spirit you all beings, the spirit within humanity is arising, just as the Apostle Peter actually said in the 2nd chapter of Acts, when he was reiterating the words of the Old Testament prophet Joel, where it was said that in those days, what days? These days, that I will pour the I am that is, will pour out my spirit. The I am presence, the I am consciousness would pour out its spirit upon humanity. And all men and women would know who I am. That's what's going on, folks. Everything has increased in vibrational frequency. I was listening to something today. Whenever actually you're in the frame of mind or you're in that consciousness, things just pop up. Why is that? Yeah, it's called the law of attraction, law of vibration. That which we feel and think about from within, we attract. Anyway, it was from Connecting Consciousness site. Simon Parkes, highly, highly recommend Simon Parkes, Connecting Consciousness. Make a note of it. Every 2 weeks on a Sunday. Well, it's recorded on the Saturday, but it's made available on the Sunday. That's Connecting Consciousness by Simon Parkes. Superb stuff. And Simon was talking today about what is now happening, what is now going on. Global warming, it's not global warming. What it is the earth heating up. Well, guess what? So are you and I. We're heating up. What does this here say? Look at what it says underneath full moon. Burning through everything toxic. When we return to the core within us, the term fire in your belly? Yeah, that's it. So intention, heart chakra and solar. What's the solar? The solar plexus. Fire in the belly. It's burning away all this toxic emotional and mental and physical toxicity, where we are literally, and those of us who are on this path, we're incredibly aware of it. Speaking with Donna actually about it today, that the chakras, all our chakras are actually having to kick out the emotional and mental and physical toxicity. So we're manifesting in the physical, in the etheric energy centers within the body, which are the chakras. We're manifesting that which needs to be removed. And the last part, of course, of the being, let me just show you my favorite diagram. The last part of that which needs to, when it's coming out, it obviously comes out mind and body. But the last part, the last layer is the body. So the emotional and mental stuff, moods and, weird stuff coming up to be released from past lives, from genetic coding, from forebears, and of course our own subconscious from this life and our own conscious programming, which I'm going to get into now once again in a few minutes. There's so much to get rid of, but it's no big deal when we are assisting the process. What do I mean by that? Daily meditation, out in nature, drinking loads of lemon water, visits to the steam room, visits to the sauna. Sweat it out, folks. Sweat it out. Let's get rid of the crap. Let's get rid of it. Assist the process. Be an absolute shame to try to resist it, wouldn't it? Because that which we resist is going to persist. In actual fact, woe betide any of us that try to resist what's happening. It's like trying to stand in front of a tsunami wave. These electromagnetic waves that are sweeping the planet have accelerated the frequency of the physical sun. The physical sun, you know, you go back a few years, it used to be like a yellow glow. Now it's white hot, white hot. And that's why certain people, you know, maybe not so much in Ireland and well, yeah, absolutely. Francie had that an experience not so long ago where he was outside and he got badly burned. It wasn't that hot. Why is that? Because the frequency of the intensity of the UV rays of our sun are much more powerful now than ever before. Why? Because we're going through another cycle. And that which pertains to Mother Earth, you know, you ever wondered why you and I are 80% sea salt water? Well, does that remind you of something? Mother Earth, 80% sea salt water. Yeah. So what are we made up of? Earth, wind, water, and fire. What's Mother Earth made up of? Earth, wind, water, and fire. And you wonder why our friends, the First Nation people behind me here, call it Mother Earth, you know, Father Sky, Sister Moon. Yeah. It's all absolutely all interconnected. We are absolutely intrinsically interconnected with all of creation. And humanity is being pushed, and I mean pushed, to get out of here, into here, shaken to the core. That's exactly what's going on. I keep saying it, and I will keep saying it until people actually get it. That shaken out of here, into here, is shaken to the core. Shaken out of the body, mind, false ID entity, into the core, into here, and then we begin to cleanse from the inside out. That's exactly what's going on. And that's what's going on with Mother Earth as well. So I touched on it in the last couple of days, last couple of videos, the difference between the world and the earth. What man's altered ego mindset set up on the surface of the earth was the world. I say that again. Man's altered ego mindset set up the world. So Mother Earth is in the process of kicking out the emotional, mental, and physical toxicity of its surface, which is the world. So are you and I, removing the false ID entity and our attachment to things and low frequency, fear-based stuff outside ourselves, including, if not most importantly, our own toxic, altered ego, false ID mindset. All right. Okay, so yesterday we talked on the live video, Matthew and I, we were talking about this, and I'm not getting into it too much tonight, but I have loads of points here, loads of questions and stuff come up literally today after that recording yesterday, which was about, you know, bridging beliefs with spirituality, which this one is as well, bridging beliefs with spirituality. But yesterday was about the inverted commas Garden of Eden story, Adam and Eve, whatever. So you want to scroll back and watch that. By the way, it's in two parts. We'll get kicked off after an hour or so, and we had to go back on again. All right, so some questions actually have come up about that today, and I want to cover these very, very quickly, some points here. And I'm going to pose them as questions. These are questions which have come up, and I'm going to pose them as questions, and I will maybe give some answers, clarification. 2.18 Christians, sorry, 2.18 billion Christians on the planet, in the world. Could it be that the vast majority, no judgment here, please understand, I was brought up Christian with the beliefs, neither Protestant or Catholic. My grandparents did me a major favor. What does that actually mean? They removed themselves from organized religion. What does that really mean? Well, what I was actually brought up in was Christian, but not Protestant or Catholic. What did that mean? We didn't have a church building. We didn't have paid ministers or priests. We actually met in people's homes. Everybody could actually speak if they actually felt prompted to. No infant baptism. So lots of the beliefs of the organized religion, my grandparents at the turn of the 1900s removed themselves from. So I am deeply, deeply grateful to them, because many people within the Christian tradition are still stuck in whether God's a Protestant or a Catholic. Excuse me for being straight about it. And could it be that many of the beliefs are based on beliefs, fear-based beliefs? So, as I touched on it yesterday, you know, I could never understand this God of fear, or fear God and keep its commandments, whenever God is love. Whenever Christ came along and he talked about love the Lord thy God and thy neighbor as thyself, love thy Lord thy God with the heart, mind, soul, and strength. I can never understand what's this about fear then, because fear is the opposite of love. And as a kid, I knew that. Mixed messages. So could it be that many, many Christians are following a head knowledge of what Christianity actually is, as opposed to an inner conscious awareness of the I am that is, which is the Christ consciousness internally. The I am within is Christ conscious. So that's why on a few occasions I have alluded to, hinted at, when Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the true vine, as I'm going to talk about here this evening. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the good shepherd. I am the door. I am the bread of life. Was he talking about Jesus, or was he talking about the I am within, i.e. the Christ consciousness in you and I? Could it be that the vast majority of 2.2, almost 2.2 billion Christians haven't got that yet? And that is a question. Could it be? All right. Here's another question. Did Christ come to set up Christianity? You can answer that one for yourself. Did the Buddha come along to set up Buddhism? Did Muhammad come along to set up Islam? Or was that an afterthought by human minds? What beliefs did all the avatars actually have? Could it be they had no beliefs? Could it be that they just had innermost conscious awareness of the truth of who they actually are, what they are, and why they're on this planet? Which is the I am presence, which is the image of the I am that is, that has no name apart from I am. Could that be? Okay. My dear friend Francie and I were chatting during the week, and he shared something with me, which I'm going to share. Silence is the warrior's art. Meditation is the warrior's sword. I'm going to repeat that for those who want to write it down. Francis Murray. Silence is the warrior's art. The warrior's art is silence. Meditation is the warrior's sword. Another one from Francis. A person stuck in beliefs, extreme fear-based beliefs, will do what he is told, no matter if it feels right or not. A spiritual person will do what feels right, no matter what he is told. Beautiful. Love it. Here's another one that came up from yesterday. Why is it that most people stuck in beliefs? And here in Ireland, there's a lot of what I'm about to say here. No judgment, just an observation. Why is it that many people seem to be caught up with doing and having and accomplishing and amassing things and consumerism, materialism. When Christ categorically said, "My kingdom is not of this world." Why is that? Here's another one. It was on my mind today when I was out in the garden. I alluded to this actually during the week about, when I talked about it yesterday, pre-1946. Where did food come from? Food came from gardens and farms and farm shops and local shops, not supermarkets. The first supermarkets apparently appeared in 1946 in the United States, a lot longer before they came here to Ireland. Well, the question actually was asked, where did food come from? Where did these essentials come from prior to 1946? So here's a question. Why don't most farmers take 1% of their land and plant their own food? I mean, a farm of 100 acres, would they miss an acre? Why don't they do that? Are they too busy? Why depend on something outside themselves when they know that their fathers and their grandfathers actually grew their own stuff? Why depend on something outside ourselves, like the supermarket, which will determine whether we eat or not, when you have the capacity and the land to grow? I don't get that. Anyway. All right, here's another pretty hard-hitting one. Could it be that fear-based beliefs are branches of the same tree? Could it be that the fear-based beliefs, stroke religions, are all branches of the same tree? Which tree? The tree of knowledge of good and evil, or the tree of life? You can answer that question. The world and group consciousness, the critical mass consciousness, is it consciousness or is it unconsciousness? Are people operating from love, light, and liberty from within? Or are they operating from fear, control, lack, limitation, scarcity mentality, and speed and greed? What is the critical mass consciousness? Which is it? And what's happening? Are the belief systems that are pertaining to speed and greed, lack mentality, service to self, are those belief systems fear-based, pursuing outside? Are those belief systems being challenged right now in an unprecedented manner? Okay. Earlier on today, Francie and I had a conversation about our old friend Job. Okay, so you bear with me. Those of you who are Christians or past Christians or recovering Christians, as a friend of mine used to call them, recovering Christians. Look, please understand, I was brought up Christian. I live in a Christian country. There are 2.18 billion Christians on this planet. But what I was brought up in was a kind of a mixture between inner conscious awareness and head stuff. But for 21 years, after making a profession of Christianity at age 14 and starting to read my Bible at age 14 and started to pray and all of that, for 21 years, I could never still my mind. And I asked people whom I thought knew how to be still and know how to still the mind. They didn't know. Or if they did, they didn't tell me. So if they didn't know, what does that make them? What does that make people who we look up to, who we believe have the answers? And either A, they don't have the answers, or B, they have the answers, but they don't want to tell us. Is that blind faith? Would they be perhaps what Jesus talked about, blind guides? Could that be the case? That they don't know themselves and they're blind and they're leading people like the Pied Piper blindly? Could that be the case? So at age 35, thankfully, I had the privilege and honor of meeting the gentleman who taught me that. And meditation, which is what? Quite simply relearning that which we knew as kids. Relaxing the body, stilling the mind, and coming into the truth again, coming into the presence. So Francie and I were talking about our friend Job. Job was a gentleman in the Old Testament. Look it up. J-O-B, as in, it looks like Job, but it's actually the pronunciation is Job. In Job chapter 3, verse 25 and 26, I quote, "That which I greatly feared is come upon me. That which I was afraid of is come to me. I was not in safety, nor had I rest and peace. Neither was I quiet." Job chapter 3, verses 25 and 26. What I have just described is Job was focusing on fear. And he lost everything. He lost everything. Poor guy, including his health. He lost a lot. He lost his material wealth and his physical health. Do you know what he said? He actually said, "That which I greatly feared." He was focusing on losing. So that which he greatly feared came about in his life. Now, Francis is extremely strong in this. Why is Francis so extremely strong in this? He's so extremely strong on it because that which we think about and speak about, we bring about in our lives. Much of what we think about and speak about in our lives is subconscious stuff. What does subconscious mean? Subconscious means underneath. It's embedded in the psyche. Subconscious underneath 90% of the iceberg. So conscious, speaking to ourselves in the negative consciously is one thing. But we have unconscious or subconscious thought patterns, which we perhaps inherit from our forebears or from past lives, but absolutely from forebears because it's called genes. You know, it's in your genes. And I don't mean your Wranglers or your Diesels. The GENES, it's in the genes, it's in the genetic coding. So it's in the cellular memory. So let me ask you a question. If something's in the cellular memory and it's subconscious, it's underneath the conscious, how can we actually deal with something that's subconscious from the external conscious mind? How can we do that? Impossible. So how do we deal with it? We get inside and we start to work from the inside out. What does that mean? Well, what that basically means is, let me show you the meme from, where is it, from yesterday, which we showed yesterday. Absolutely superb. Where is it? Anyway, it's here. The only way out of the mess of the fearful state of mind is inside. The only way out is in. And this one here, which Matthew Manai found. Man cannot remake himself. Bit shiny there. So let me do that. Man cannot remake himself and woman without suffering, for he is both the marble and the sculptor. Yes, exactly. You see, we amass that stuff from the outside. We put on layers and layers and layers. You've heard me say before, the layers and layers and layers are poured in through the top of the head like layers of concrete. So what actually happens? It covers up the essence of who we actually are. So along comes the sculptor. Who's the sculptor? The sculptor is the I am presence. The sculptor starts doing the work, kicking out the emotional and mental and physical toxicity, the toxic relationships, the toxic vocations, toxic everything. And that's why right now, I mean, with this full moon, like, everything's accelerating. I mean, September was accelerating, and this month, we're only, what is it, 2 weeks into it? Yeah, rapid stuff going on. All right, so that which we think about and speak about, we're bringing about in our lives. So would it be a good idea to think thoughts of love, think thoughts of peace, think thoughts of joy, think thoughts that bring us contentment, discern between that which is going to serve or not, empowering thoughts, empowering, feel. You see, we were never meant to. The only part of creation that thinks, vast majority negatively, are adult humans. We're never meant to think. What is now happening? We're being pushed out of thinking. The new thinking is feeling. And you as ladies especially, you know that. Trust the hunches and the gut feeling, the intuition, the tuition that comes from within. Follow the insight, insightfulness. So that's what I was getting at about intention. The intention, sending the message to the head and the body carries it out. That's it. All the head is no more and no less meant to be, or is a tool like the hand or the foot for the expression of the inner being. That's all it is. When it's told to act, act, just like the blackbird. What the human mind and its altered ego mindset, what it actually did was thought it knew best. And look at the mess it created in the world. You know, false identity. I call it the self-saboteur, the inner self-saboteur. All right. Okay, so some other biblical references here. And I mean, this is bridging beliefs with spirituality. This is what it's called here. So it was on my mind today after my meditation. 1 John, John's epistle in the New Testament, chapter 4, verse 18. Perfect love casts out fear. What is perfect love? Well, it's known in this age in which we live as pure unconditional love. I am presence. I am consciousness. It's pure unconditional love. That's perfect love. And it kicks out fear. What do I mean by that? When the perfect love, or the pure unconditional love, fills up and fills up and fills up and fills up the vessel, fills up the being, and it percolates through the soul, through the heart, up into the mind, and it flushes out the fear-based emotional and mental toxicity. And then all the chakras come in alignment. All I in mind. Alignment. You know how I love to play on the words. Alignment is all I in mind. So the I has become and taken over the mind. So now fear is removed. Perfect love casts out fear, removes fear. And it all starts with relaxing the body and stilling the mind. This is so simple, folks. This is so simple. You know, could it be that it served the false ID entity, which created many of the fear-based beliefs, if not all? it served them. Could it be that it served them not to tell the truth? Because if they did share people the wherewithal to find the truth within themselves, would they show up on a Sunday morning, or a Saturday night, or a Saturday day, or a Friday day, or any day? Let me ask a question that I've asked before. Which day does everything else in creation honor its creator and is in a state of gratitude, an attitude of gratitude? Which day? Every day. So should we. Excuse me. Here's another one. 1 John chapter 4, verse 8 again. God is love. And who is God? I am that I am. And the I am within you and the I am within I. The I am within all of us is the express image of the I am that is in everything in creation. I am is love. Okay, today and yesterday in the recording we talked about another reference. Go to the John's Gospel this time. John's Gospel. Make a note of these, those of you who are Christians or have perhaps just check these things out. All I'm basically doing is asking you to, or asking ourselves, don't take one word that I'm saying as whether you should believe it or not. Because this is not about beliefs. This is about you feeling within yourself. Is it real? Is it authentic? Is it true? Or is it a load of garbage? I am not trying to lead you towards me. The Awakening Academy, Matthew Manai, Francis Murray, Donna Hutchings, Anthony Carlin, Paddy O'Reilly, Carol George, all the mentors, Paula, Marie Sherry, and others that are coming on board in the very near future. We are not trying to lead you towards us. Instead, we hope to lead you towards yourself, because you have all these answers within you. Each and every one of us. As I said, the Old Testament prophet Joel, reiterated by the apostle Peter in the 2nd chapter of Acts. In those days, these days, I will pour out, the source said, I will pour out my spirit upon all humanity, or all flesh it was, all of humanity, and all men and women shall know who I am. Exactly, that's what's now going on. It's called the ascension process. And you know, whenever you have people like our friend, clarification, not that it needs clarified, because we can see it all around us. The system that was set up was not designed to suit the human spirit. So that's what I was getting at. We are now in those days where Joel actually said it way back thousands of years ago, and reiterated 2,000 years ago by the apostle Peter. That's where we're now at. That the spirit of humanity is arising from within us all. The spirit of the earth, the core of the earth, is arising. Gaia is arising within the earth and making the changes. The sun is brighter than ever. The electromagnetic waves sweeping the planet are coming from the central sun. And being physical evidence of that is what's going on in the earth changes. And those same things, that same electromagnetic frequency is bringing up the emotional and mental physical toxicity within our bodies, within our minds, to be removed, and removing the world. The geopolitical, the financial, everything is going to have to, as I said yesterday or the other day, come in line or leave. There's no option. Okay. So humans are going to have to live in love and live in light and live in joy and live in peace. Which brings me on to the last couple of points. the fruits of the tree of life, the fruits of the true vine are as follows. Look it up for yourself. The Apostle Paul wrote to the Galatians in chapter 5, verses 22 and 23. Check it out for yourself. Here are the values: love, joy, peace, goodness, gentleness, meekness. I'm going to include a few more: gratitude, forgiveness, harmony, real values, ease, abundance, contentment, discernment. You can add a whole lot more. In other words, all the positive, all that which is the innate aspect of the spirit of our true essence. All those values. The opposite, the fruits of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, are all those fear-based stuff. And I'm not even going to go into them because we've all been there. But here's the bottom line. And here's the questions. What are we emitting from our lives? Is our vibrational frequency of love and light? Are the fruits or what is evident from our lives loving, joyful, peaceful, discerning? Or are they low frequency? Stuff like unforgiveness and guilt and regret and all that malarkey. Which is it? Because we're being pushed to get rid of, just as this full moon and the Aries is pushing us and pushing us and pushing us. And we will have to choose. Are we going to, call the valley of decision? We are going to have to choose. Are we going to ascend, or are we going to go down the downward spiral, down the Swanee, up the creek without a paddle? Yeah. It's up to us. You know, we can choose. But it's a much, much better idea to assist the process and to go with the flow of the universe, be in harmony with the universe meaning one song, in harmony. Because the universe is going to go on with or without humanity. The changes that are happening will happen with or without altered ego mindset humanity. We can either go with it or not. Okay, so just to close for this evening, what are we feeding on? Are we feeding on the fruits from the tree of life? Or are we feeding on the fearful head tree of knowledge of good and evil stuff? What are we feeding on? You know the term that was alluded to or used to use, maybe still do, about computers, garbage in, garbage out. Well, good stuff in is also good stuff out. So what are we feeding on? You know, remember the story about the two wolves? That which we feed the most, the one we feed the most, overcomes the other. And you know, the loving wolf, the loving being, the I am, the soul and the heart, the more we feed that on a daily basis, the more we feed it, I've just said it, on a daily basis, the more it will overcome the fear-based, control, altered ego, destructive, debilitating beliefs and mindset. And eventually, the altered aspect of the ego will disappear, and the ego will fall into harmony with the soul and the heart. And the I am within will run the soul, the heart, the mind, and the body, our relationships, our vocation, and everything. Everything on the external will be an expression of the internal. And the wanting mind, and Donna and I talked about this today, the wanting mind will be put into subjection. And we will no longer want more than we need. All we require is the wherewithal to support our purpose in life. What does that mean? The wherewithal to allow us to have who we are and what we are be expressed by the being human experience. So the human experience is the body and the mind expressing the spiritual being, the spirit you all being. And that's it. So we will no longer want this and that. We no longer will, our whole values will be real I in mind, realigned, real I in mind, realignment. So the real I becomes and takes over the mind. And we no longer require what the wanting mind, which was the altered ego mind, wanted. And believe me, I know what it's like because I've been there myself. All the stuff that I tried to amass in my life, when I lost my emotional, mental, and physical energy, didn't have the energy to pursue it for 3 years. 8 years of ME and chronic fatigue, suicidal thoughts, and all that stuff. But you know something? Here's the bottom line. Just coming to mind what Christ said. My peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives. In the world you will have tribulation. But you will have the peace that passes all understanding, all mindset. The peace that is within. It's inner peace. So with that, I love you. I respect you. I care about you more perhaps than you realize. But you know, here's the bottom line. It's my heart's desire that I would inspire you and everybody to love themselves, respect themselves, and esteem themselves, to come home to the truth that is within us all, and to have the outside of our lives be a representation and an extension and an expression of the inside. So we become authentic beings, spiritual beings here on planet Earth, having a human experience. So be it. Namaste. Heart hugs.